Hey guys, my name is Paul Spooner. I have been a Christian since I was 4, and that was my parents were Christians, and so it was like, do you want Jesus in your heart? Yes, I want Jesus in my heart. I recommitted my life when I was about 11, and during one of the, revival meeting, it's like, are you sure you're saved? You better be sure you're saved. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to be saved. And then recommitted my life a number of times over the years, but about 5 years ago, I think it was 5 years ago last Easter, we joined the Catholic Church, my wife and I. So my wife and I were both Christians, nominal, born again Christians. I don't think we were, I don't think we regret anything that we were doing as Christians then. We went to church regularly. Actually, I think we went to church every Sunday. I don't think we ever missed going to church. We weren't Catholics, but we still, that was important to us. And another thing that was important to us was family. My wife is from a family of 10. She's the second of 10, and I'm the eldest of 8. And so, having a big family was that's something we want. That's something that we talked about when we were getting together. It was one of the top lists on my priorities. Hey, do you want to have a lot of kids? Because, I'm down for having a lot of kids. And so we did. So we got married, had a lot of kids. We've got 8 kids now. And but back when we were just Protestants, we never really felt welcomed in the Catholic or in the Protestant churches. It was always like, hey, you're trying to pull some sort of scam having all these kids, or what are you doing? Or I don't know. It was just always a very weird atmosphere. It was this very strange. The culture is completely not supportive of large families. So until we went to, we moved up to Seattle for a while, and then went to Japan, had a kid there. The whole story. But when we moved back to California, Southern California, my mom asked me to come visit her church, asked us. And she had joined the Catholic Church about 6 years prior. So this would be about 10 years ago. And she invited us to come to visit her church, and everyone was so supportive and so enthusiastic about our family. And they're at the time, I think we only had 5. But they were just that's awesome, keep going, that's great. They people would tell us, oh yeah, I had, 7 kids, or I had 9 kids, and keep it up. That's great. It's great to see some young people having a big family. And it's wow, this is really cool. So, for my wife, that was that was the selling point, was the culture supports this, and it's something that was important to her, and it's important to me too. But I'm kind of a charismatic. My parents were both charismatic before they joined the Lutheran church when they had their family. And so I have that in me too, of being in touch with the Spirit, and where am I supposed to be? And what is God doing here? And having a spiritual awareness. And going to the Catholic Church, it was just this is the real deal. This is legit. The Spirit is here. God is here. This is real. And so for me, that was a selling point. It was this is where God is, and that's where I want to be. So, supportive of big families, and, being present in the real presence of God. And so it was kind of interesting, because when we were doing formation, my wife went through RCIA. I was a Lutheran and had, done the catechism. I went to Bible school, and so I was very familiar with the doctrines and stuff. And so, they teach us about Catholicism, why did Luther split from the Catholic Church? And here's all their teachings, and here's why they're all wrong, right? And I always had my doubts about are you sure they're actually wrong? I don't know. And actually, when I was going to college, I was talking to a friend, and I was man, it was a Christian college. But anyway, I was man, it's really important to me, the unity of the church. That's something I really hope that someday the church can be unified again. And he kind of flippantly said, well, why don't you just join the Catholic Church and save everybody the hassle, right? You can be unified, just join the Catholic Church. And I was maybe I will. And I did. So anyway, that's my story of how I joined the Catholic Church. And I hope it was edifying to you. God bless.